now we have someone really, really special. Shaheen, she is the person that is in charge of public policy and sustainability of Coca-Cola in North Africa. But not only that, she has been working in large organizations like Microsoft and Etisalat and PepsiCo, and leading the global citizenship initiatives where she brings together people of different countries to actually make things happen. She has worked also for the World Bank. She has done an incredible amount of projects and contributions, and she's also an incredibly nice person that I adore to listen to. I met her in Egypt, in the CSR Egypt event, an amazing initiative by Hassan Mustafa, by the way. And so it was wonderful to listen to her there. And so we asked her to share with us her views today about what are the most effective impact solutions and calls to action for governments and companies, and what are the projects that she has worked on that she's the most proud of, and more importantly, that we can also use in our companies and institutions. So Shereen, thank you so much for being here, and we really, really appreciate you coming today. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I can see a roster of impressive speakers, so I'm sure I'm not going to add much. I'm sure they know all my pearl of wisdom in my 21 career, working in sustainability and public policy. It hasn't been a very straightforward journey, especially in the Middle East, where it was something new for us to integrate sustainability. We were more intertwined into the Nobit and making profit, and not understanding yet the implications of not implementing a sustainability approach in our supply chain. This really started, the conversation about sustainability in the Middle East and Africa, I would say 7 to 10 years ago. So we had to really change our game and really go really as fast as possible to try to reach the wagon of Europe and the West. And it was not a really straightforward strategy. However, I would like to share 7 to 8 pearl of wisdom in my 21-year career. It's not related to Coca-Cola only. It's related to all the big organization and their also challenges in implementing sustainability. And also the government I worked for. I worked for a lot of Middle Eastern governments, and I was their consultant at a certain point of time. And I'd like to share these wisdom with you, and I'm sure 100% Carlos and the team, you've heard them. It's all about putting them into action. So the first one I'd like to share with you, and this is something that was quite surprising for me after COVID-19, is that a lot of organizations and big names would only implement SDG from the communication level without having a ledger or without having actually a tracker. And this is a huge problem to actually be able to track your progress and to understand the big actually impact you had on and your footprint on the country. And this is a study that was done in 2019 and 2020, whereby it was reported that only 50% of companies use SDGs. And this is for me something that would require a lot of action, like the Global Bridge and other plans that Carlos has into place, where we bring the brains together in implementing action. So the first takeaway I had, and actually really trying to implement a lot of sustainability departments in many companies, was collaboration is key. So we've seen that a multi-stakeholder approach is a good practice. However, stakeholder is a short definition of success, because stakeholder is actually is any party that is affected or affects the company, and this is a very important pillar. We usually tend as private sector to reinvent the wheel, while we have institutions like yourselves, you're leading, or actually a global bridge and World Alliance events that Carlos is implementing, where he brings everyone together. A lot of the time, because private sector is very busy, did not have the right visibility. However, we're starting as private sector to be more visible in these events and forums, where we listen to the different parties and understand and find a way to, you know, try to collaborate together. So the second takeaway is that SDGs also contribute to companies. We always see as private sector, and not only the company I work for, is actually that that the SDGs is done for the government, and we're doing this to manage. But actually, when I implemented them 10 years ago, and it was the Global Compact, or whatever name or objective it was under, it really managed the risks. It engaged collaborators. It created debates. It really had a purpose and innovation. And when we were in mode of crisis, this really saved us. My third takeaway is top management is a trigger. So a lot of the time you try to build a strategy, but without the involvement of the management, and or maybe the management is not really interested in really sustainability. It's just a tick in the box. And really, one of the key factors that enabled me to work on a lot of programs was to really change and the mindset of my management into seeing sustainability, and not sustainability to look good, or not sustainability as a PR stunt, but more how this sustainability could be implemented into our supply chain to be forever stand still, not something that you do just for looking good in front of the government. So engagement plus communication equals genuine dialogue. And this is a very important thing. A lot of companies are working on the part of the communication, but without really caring about what is going to happen to the project in a year or 2 years' time. And this is where the commitment level should be at the level of the sustainability leads and drive change through the leaders. So we have two important programs at Coca-Cola. We have the World Without Waste. We have JAMI, Sustainability Pillar, and both of them are necessary, uh, programs that have been implemented by leaders versus the sustainability leads. And it was about putting really clear trackers, clear indicators year by year, where we will be reaching more our commitment. And Word Without Waste is something we started 7 or 8 years ago, before even the conversation about circular economy or about EPR or regulation from the government. And this has proven very successful when the government came to us and asked us for advice on how they can strike the circular economy integration. My fifth takeaway, and I'm reaching the end of my speech, two other pearl of wisdom, and then we're done. So the fifth one is use system thinking to embrace sustainability. Sustainability is not only the objective of the sustainability department. It needs to go, cross-functional. The team from sales, the team from marketing, the teams from operation, everyone has a stake into it. The other thing is making sure that you're tracking this. And this is why there are many new innovation on how you can track your carbon footprint, you track your energy consumption, you track your water sustainability, and what can you do to mitigate the risk of being seen as a consumer versus or overutilizing the resources. So to solve this obstacle, you have a system thinking that you need to use. It gives the capacity to understand the long-term solution and helps you to find way for your overconsumption of a certain resources. My fourth collaboration is the new competition. I've been joining hands with Pepsi. I've been joining hands with Nestle, joining hands with the biggest companies that actually are competing with me. This is the best programs I'm proud of are actually with my competition, because we all have a stake in making the world better, a more prosperous place. It's not that we do that without having the intention of also making profit, but it's definitely, when it comes to circular economy, when it comes to waste management, you can't find the solution on your own. It needs to be the responsibility of the entire industry. So this is one of the key learning I took on my shoulder. In any company I do, I always look at how my competition are doing, what great things have been they integrating, and how can I collaborate with them. So, and my two last, SDG needs to be integrated into your strategy, and it shouldn't be something like a marketing activity. I'm sure
Yes.
you've heard that a lot, but with influence you comes responsibility, and it needs to be at the level where the board of directors are meeting the executive team and putting their strategy for the year. I'm very proud to say that I'm a certified board of director for that big reason, is to ensure that sustainability is integrated in boards, especially with the new law of the private sector and the public and the central bank in integrating at least one female into the board. And finally, my last takeaway is consider it as a great journey. It's really, really when you fulfill that great journey into the company, when you see the programs happening, at the end of the day, you feel like an inspired adventure you want to be part of all the time. Thank you very much, Carlos, for this intervention. It was a pleasure meeting all these great speakers, and please uh, join me into that adventure and great journey. I'm more than happy to connect on LinkedIn, or listen, or if you have any questions, please send them over, and I'll be happy to answer them.
Well, thank you so much, Shaheen.